Making headlines this hour. President Muiz calls for urgent international action to safeguard the rights of Palestinian people. Maldives government announces to provide Sri Lanka $50,000 in aid and 25,000 cases of tuna cans. And Minister of Finance Musa Zamir says the Muiz administration is pursuing fiscal stability through disciplined spending and a sustained budget surplus.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. Now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz issues a powerful statement underscoring the immediate need for concrete international action to ensure the rights of the people of Palestine as the global community observed the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. President Muiz, in a message on social media, highlighted the devastating reality on the ground, pointing out the violation of fragile ceasefires, relentless Israeli strikes on Gaza, and continued illegal settlement expansion. The president insisted that these actions deny the Palestinian people stability and the prospect of an economically viable future. He called upon the international community to translate expressions of solidarity into meaningful action toward realizing the legitimate rights and aspirations of Palestinians. In his message, the president also reaffirmed Maldives' unwavering commitment to stand resolutely with the Palestinian people, reiterating his steadfast support for the full recognition of Palestine as an independent and sovereign state based on the pre-1967 borders, with East Jerusalem serving as its capital. The Maldives government announces its decision to extend relief assistance to Sri Lanka through financial support of $50,000 and a donation of 25,000 cases of tuna cans. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a statement, said the decision to extend humanitarian and relief assistance on behalf of the Maldivian people to the people of Sri Lanka is in response to the widespread devastation caused by Cyclone Ditawat. It said this gesture is a demonstration of solidarity with our close neighbor and the friendly people of Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath on X thanked the Maldives for standing with us at this devastating time. Unquote. Cyclone Ditawat was moving away from Sri Lanka Saturday and was heading towards neighboring India to the north, but it had already left massive destruction in its wake. The death toll from heavy rains and floods triggered by Cyclone Ditawat rose to 123, with another 130 reported missing. Sri Lanka's Disaster Management Centre said extreme weather system has destroyed nearly 15,000 homes, sending almost 44,000 people to state-run temporary shelters. The High Commission of Maldives in Sri Lanka initiates urgent relief efforts, providing essential food items and water to Maldivian citizens severely impacted by the recent devastation caused by Cyclone Ditwa.
The proactive measure comes as Sri Lanka grapples with widespread flooding and disruptions across the island nation. A dedicated special call center has been established to streamline reports from those requiring assistance, enabling the High Commission to closely monitor the evolving situation. The High Commission has also begun providing aid to those who have requested it, delivering food and water to Maldivians across various parts of Sri Lanka, adding that assistance is also being extended to Maldivian students in Colombo and other affected areas. Beyond residents and students, the High Commission is actively working to identify and aid Maldivian nationals stranded at Colombo's Bandaranaike International Airport following numerous flight cancellations. In a display of solidarity, the High Commission also announced its preparations to extend humanitarian assistance to local victims who are battling extensive flood damage. In light of the hazardous conditions, the High Commission has issued a critical advisory to its citizens, urging them to avoid non-essential travel, particularly in areas prone to floods and landslides, and to remain indoors during heavy rains and strong winds. They are further advised to strictly adhere to directives issued by the Sri Lankan Meteorological Department, urging them to contact the High Commissioner's dedicated hotline number.
The Public Service Media announces the immediate launch of a special telethon to provide urgent humanitarian assistance to neighboring Sri Lanka, which is grappling with the severe devastation caused by heavy rains and flooding related to the recent passage of Cyclone Jitwa. The critical fundraising effort is scheduled to take place at 30th November, running from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. on the following day. PSM underscored the necessity of this rapid response, noting the historically close and friendly relationship between the two nations. Sri Lanka holds a significance not only as a friendly neighbor, but also as a country that hosts one of the largest populations of Maldivians living abroad. PSM stressed that given the depth of these ties, it is important to provide every possible assistance to the people of Sri Lanka during this severe crisis. In a display of national unity, PSM has invited all news media outlets across the Maldives to participate in tomorrow's telethon. The opportunity to contribute is open to the entire Maldivian public, including individuals, associations, community groups, clubs, and government officers. Additional specific details regarding how citizens can contribute funds and assistance will be announced by PSM later today and throughout the evening. And now we'll take a short break for Isha prayers. Stay tuned.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Komeduahaku agadi tirihuga PSM Newsing.
Welcome back to PSM News in English, and now we'll continue with the news. Minister of Finance and Planning Musa Zamir says the administration of President Dr. Mohamed Muiz is undertaking what it calls decisive steps toward fiscal stability through disciplined expenditure management and a sustained budget surplus.
For the first time since 2021, government spending has remained within the approved budget, eliminating the need for supplementary allocations. At the Maldives MSME Awards 2025, Minister Zamir reported that the surplus has been maintained for 40 consecutive weeks, a result he attributed to strengthened cash flow oversight, reductions in non-essential spending such as travel and repair costs, and the timely servicing of debt. He projected that debt as a MSME's share of gross domestic product will decline from 9.9% in 2024 to 5.5% by year end, noting that the Sovereign Development Fund has surpassed $100 million for the first time, creating a reserve against future crisis. He said the government is reinforcing the fiscal framework through the National Fiscal Responsibility Act and the National Debt Act while developing a medium-term debt strategy. A central element of the approach is a shift toward value addition and Maldivian craftsmanship, with micro, small, and medium enterprises recognized as critical drivers of growth. To strengthen domestic capacity, 53 companies have been awarded more than 200 projects worth $175.10 million alongside $40 million SME Impact Fund with the Islamic Development Bank Group. Minister Zamir concluded that MSMEs must remain the primary beneficiaries of national progress, supported by investment in digitalization, infrastructure, and skills.
Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Saeed announces the Maldives has shifted from economic depression to stability following Moody's addition to designate the nation's credit rating outlook as stable.
Speaking at the Maldives MSME Award 2025 ceremony, Minister Saeed described the upgrade as a pivotal moment, offering renewed confidence to domestic businesses and international investors. He said the declaration affirms the turnaround achieved since President Dr. Mohamed Muizz's administration assumed office. Minister Saeed recalled that the previous economic climate had been severely weakened, with business owners discouraged, national assets including schools and hospitals mortgaged, and the country's rating significantly depressed. Moody's decision, he said, signals a decisive shift from fragility to stability. To consolidate this progress, the government is advancing a free trade agreement with China, the world's largest business market. Modernization also requires digital integration, and in partnership with Ooredoo Maldives, efforts are underway to introduce PayPal services early next year, fulfilling a key presidential pledge. He said support for small and medium-sized enterprises remains a priority. The Maldives has joined the Berne Convention to strengthen intellectual property protections, with a dedicated office planned for next year. Complementing these reforms, the Business Center Corporation has provided $3.24 million to 400 businesses through the Authentic Maldives program, while the Bank of Maldives has launched a digital SME platform branded Swipe.
The Maldives holds its first national awards program for micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, a landmark initiative designed to recognize and encourage the country's entrepreneurial community.
Organized by the Business Center Corporation under the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade, the program encompassed 22 categories, with winners chosen through a combination of judging panel scores and public votes. The ceremony at the Maldives Center for Social Education drew senior officials, including Economic Development Minister Mohammed Saeed and guest of honor, Minister of Finance and Planning Musa Zamir. Minister Zamir presented the three highest honors, naming Noddy's Coffee as Micro MSME of the Year, Loopcraft Private Limited as Small MSME of the Year, and Ueva the Art Shop as Medium MSME of the Year. The judging panel also recognized Scientech Private Limited as Startup of the Year, Fahigovan as Green MSME of the Year, Anquery Private Limited as Creative MSME of the Year, and Maya Nasih as Women-Led MSME of the Year, alongside Pinet Works Private Limited, The Gift Basket Maldives, Javabu Private Limited, and For the Soul by Himu. Public voting honored 11 businesses, including D-Tune Band, The Crystal Company, Meraki, Maldives Music and Art Center, Lights Out, Mekra Mama, Legacy Fitness, Fatima, Tropical Designs, Takati, and Loopcrafts. In total, 21 enterprises were recognized. Building on the success of the inaugural event, the BCC pledged to make the MSME Awards an annual fixture, reinforcing its commitment to valuing and encouraging the contributions of the nation's small businesses.
A single factory in China's industrial south has become a global choke point for chips used in cars, upending an industry that just a few years ago swore it wouldn't be caught short again.
After COVID-19 snarled semiconductor supply in 2020 and a fire at Japanese chipmaker Renesas deepened the shortage a year later, automakers vowed to strengthen their supply chain. But diplomatic crisis that has engulfed Dutch chipmakers Nexperia's factory in China has exposed a blind spot. The industry never envisioned low-tech chips would become a geopolitical bottleneck. Nexperia makes basic semiconductors used in everything from car brakes to airbags and electric windows. The chips are so cheap they sell for fractions of a penny, yet the shortage forced Nissan and Honda to cut production and drove Germany's Bosch to furlough workers. The Dutch government seized control of Netherlands-based Nexperia in September, citing concerns technology could be passed on to the chipmaker's Chinese owner, Wingtech. Beijing retaliated by cutting off exports of Nexperia's finished chips, which are mostly packaged at the plant in southern China's Pearl River Delta. Following talks between the two governments, the Dutch government took a step back from the intervention, a move welcomed by China as a first step in the right direction to easing chip supply shortages. Nexperia and its Chinese owner Wingtech repeated they are at odds. However, while carmakers said supply chain disruptions are not resolved, China's Commerce Ministry said the Dutch move fell short of fully ending its intervention as it had demanded. Dutch Economy Minister Vincent Karemans said in a statement on Wednesday that his latest move was a gesture of goodwill and talks will continue. Although the Nexperia issue has deepened alarm about relying on China, pivoting away isn't easy either, said Jörg Wuttke, partner at consultancy DGA, Albright Stonebridge, and an expert on European trade with China.
The head of a Lebanese militant group Hezbollah says it retained the right to respond to Israel's killing days ago of its top military commander and left open the possibility of a new conflict with Israel.
Naim Qassem spoke in a televised address as fears grew in Lebanon that Israel could escalate its bombardment of the country to compel Hezbollah to relinquish its arsenal across the country, which the group has repeatedly rejected. Israel's killing of Hezbollah's top military commander, Haytham Ali Tabtabai, in a strike on Beirut's southern suburbs on the 23rd of November sharpened those worries. Qassem said that the group would set the timing for any retaliation and said threats of a broader air campaign had no impact on the group, but that renewed war was possible. Qassem also said he hoped Vatican's chief's upcoming visit to Lebanon will play a role in bringing about peace and ending the aggression. Lebanon is under growing pressure from both Israel and the United States to more swiftly disarm Hezbollah and other groups across the country.
The African Cup of Nations trophy goes on display in London as the CAF 2025 Diaspora Tour begin ahead of the 2025 showpiece kicking off in Morocco next month.
Among those in attendance were current Nigeria and Fulham midfielder Alex Iwobi, Kenyan defensive anchor Victor Wanyama, former Cameroon defender Alex Song, and ex-Arsenal vice-chairman David Dane. The event forms part of a two-city tour that will move to Paris next week and aiming to showcase the spirit of African football as well as the powerful celebration of a shared identity where the rhythm of the continent meets the resonance of its global children. The 2025 AFCON, the 35th edition of the continental tournament, kicks off in Rabat on December 21st, with hosts Morocco taking on the Comoros. The final takes place on January 18 at the same Prince Moulay Abdullah Stadium in the Moroccan capital.
A Faberge Imperial Winter Egg commissioned by Tsar Nicholas II as an Easter gift to his mother heads to auction next week, where it could set a record for the third time with a price estimate of more than $26 million.
Carved in rock crystal and adorned with rose-cut diamond-set platinum snowflake decorations, the winter egg is considered one of Faberge's finest creations for the imperial family, according to Christie's.
This is one of imperial Easter eggs created by Faberge for the Romanovs. And the winter egg is arguably the best of them all. It was commissioned in 1913 as a present from Nicholas II to his mother, Maria Feodorovna, and it's amazing in its design, in its craftsmanship, the technique that Faberge used, the history behind it. Everything about the winter egg is so important and so rare as well.
Sitting on a crystal base made to look like melting ice, the egg is engraved inside with a frost design. It was designed to open up to reveal a surprise, an intricately made bouquet of flowers. The egg is on offer at the December 2nd The Winter Egg and Important Works by Faberge from a princely collection sale during Christie's Classic Week of auctions. It is listed with a price estimate on request in excess of $26.45 million. Christie's previously sold the winter egg in Geneva in 1994 and New York in 2002. Both times, it set a world record price for a Faberge item sold at auction. In New York, it went for $9.6 million. In 2007, the Rothschild's Faberge egg sold for $18.5 million at a Christie's auction. The sale is one of several Christie's is hosting during its Classic Week, running on December 2nd to 11.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.